A nuclear reactor contains enough uranium to level a city. Yet it doesn't. Every single day, 440 reactors around the world run at temperatures hot enough to melt steel, producing chain reactions that could spiral out of control in milliseconds, and somehow, almost always, nothing happens. Not because we're lucky, because the physics itself refuses to let it explode. This is the story of how engineers weaponized the laws of nature against themselves. How they built machines that shut down when they fail. How a quirk of quantum mechanics makes the most dangerous reaction on Earth surprisingly lazy. And why the worst nuclear disasters in history didn't happen because reactors worked too well. They happened because humans forced them to work wrong. Here's what most people get wrong about nuclear fission. They imagine it as instant chaos. One atom splits, then two, then four, then a billion in the blink of an eye. Hiroshima in a heartbeat. But that's not how reactors work. That's not even how bombs work without extraordinary engineering to make them work that way. When a uranium-235 atom absorbs a neutron, it becomes unstable. It wobbles, stretches, and tears itself apart into two smaller atoms, barium and krypton usually, plus 2 or 3 free neutrons. Those neutrons fly off at 17,000 kilometers per second. And here's the critical detail. They're moving too fast to be caught. A neutron moving at that speed will sail right past most uranium atoms. It's like trying to grab a bullet with your bare hands. For fission to continue, for the chain to react, those neutrons need to slow down. They need to lose 99% of their energy before another uranium atom will absorb them. This is why you can hold a chunk of uranium in your hand and not die instantly. The neutrons from natural decay are simply too fast to cause a chain reaction. The uranium is radioactive, yes, but it's not explosive. In a reactor, we slow neutrons down using a moderator, usually water or graphite. The fast neutrons bounce off hydrogen atoms in water, losing energy with each collision, until they're moving at about 2 kilometers per second. Slow enough to be captured. Slow enough to cause fission. But this slowing down process takes time. Microseconds, but time nonetheless. And in nuclear physics, microseconds are everything. If every neutron from fission emerged instantly, reactors would be impossible to control. The chain reaction would accelerate faster than any mechanical system could respond. We'd need control rods that moved at the speed of light. But nature gave us a gift: delayed neutrons. About 99.3% of neutrons do emerge instantly. These are called prompt neutrons. But 0.7% come late. They're released not from the fission itself, but from the unstable fission products, the barium and krypton fragments, and they emerge anywhere from milliseconds to minutes later. This fraction seems trivially small. It's the most important number in nuclear engineering. That 0.7% is the only reason nuclear power plants exist. Without delayed neutrons, controlled fission would be mathematically impossible. Reactor designers deliberately keep the chain reaction dependent on delayed neutrons. They tune the system so prompt neutrons alone cannot sustain the reaction. You need that tiny delayed fraction to push it over the edge. This means the effective response time of the reactor stretches from microseconds to seconds. Suddenly, control rods that move at normal mechanical speeds can actually keep up. When operators want more power, they withdraw control rods slowly. The delayed neutron population builds up gradually. When they want less power, they insert rods. The prompt neutrons vanish immediately, but the reactor doesn't crash. Those delayed neutrons keep trickling in, allowing a graceful slowdown. Here's where reactor design becomes genuinely elegant. Modern reactors don't just tolerate mistakes. They physically resist them. The hotter they get, the less efficient they become. This is called negative temperature feedback, and it's not a safety system. It's not even a design choice. It's built into the fundamental physics of uranium and water. What if I told you that in most modern reactors, losing all coolant doesn't cause a meltdown? It stops the chain reaction entirely. In a light water reactor, water serves two purposes. It cools the fuel, and it moderates the neutrons. Remove the water, and yes, you lose cooling. But you also lose moderation. Those fast neutrons can no longer slow down. They can no longer cause fission. The chain reaction doesn't run away, it collapses. There's another effect called Doppler broadening. As uranium heats up, its atoms vibrate more violently. This vibration smears out the precise energy window where neutrons get absorbed. Paradoxically, hotter uranium captures more neutrons uselessly, absorbing them without fissioning, and fewer neutrons productively. The reaction rate drops automatically. But here's what still keeps nuclear engineers awake at night, because there's one reactor design where all of this works backwards, where losing water makes things worse, where positive feedback loops can overwhelm negative ones. And that design is the reason the word Chernobyl still carries weight 40 years later. The RBMK reactor at Chernobyl used graphite as its moderator, not water. Water was only for cooling. This single design choice inverted the safety logic. Lose the water, and the graphite keeps moderating neutrons. The chain reaction continues, even accelerates, because water actually absorbs some neutrons, remove it, and more neutrons become available for fission. Positive feedback. A reactor that wanted to run away. Soviet engineers knew this. They added safety systems, automatic shutdown triggers, restricted operating procedures, emergency protocols. But on April 26, 1986, operators disabled those systems one by one. They were testing a safety feature, ironically. They needed the reactor in an unstable configuration to complete the test. They pushed it into a state where physics could no longer save them. The power spike happened in 4 seconds. 4 seconds from stable operation to explosion. Not a nuclear explosion, the uranium couldn't do that, but a steam explosion violent enough to lift the 2,000-ton reactor lid and expose the graphite core to air. The graphite burned for 10 days. Chernobyl didn't explode because reactors are inherently dangerous. It exploded because humans systematically disabled every feature designed to prevent exactly what happened. Modern reactor designs make this kind of override physically impossible. Passive safety systems use gravity, convection, and the natural behavior of materials. No pumps, no electricity, no human decisions required. The AP1000 reactor can cool itself for 72 hours with no operator action and no external power. The reaction simply cannot run away because the physics won't allow it. The real story of nuclear safety isn't about containing danger. It's about designing machines that fail in the right direction, where every pathway to disaster runs uphill against the laws of thermodynamics, where the default state isn't explosion, it's shutdown. We've built 440 of these machines. They've operated for 18,000 combined reactor years. And the physics that makes uranium split is the same physics that makes it safe if we let it. Here's what I want to know from you. Given what we now understand about passive safety, why do you think public fear of nuclear power hasn't caught up with the engineering reality? Is it Chernobyl's shadow? Media framing? Something deeper about how humans perceive invisible risks? Drop your thoughts below. If this kind of engineering deep dive is your thing, how things actually work beneath the surface, hit subscribe. System Logic. We'll see you in the next one.